Great news, folks. We've got another excellent show for you. It is very music driven. From, of course, music, we have Nati Strauss. We have Jeff Keith from Tesla. We have Johnny DiCarlo from Neverwake and Steve Wolwyn from Arcane Ghost. So we have a great show for you today. Definitely stay tuned in, and we are looking forward to entertaining you. The Dreamhouse Nation loves it when we give out our email address, and that is dreamhousenation@gmail.com. That's dreamhousenation@gmail.com. Right in to win tickets. We are giving away some of the best tickets of the summer. We're giving away tickets to the Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 25th through May 28th. Tool, Godsmack, Avenged Sevenfold, Queens of the Stone Age, Kiss, Rob Zombie, Foo Fighters, the Deftones. It is going to be an amazing event. Right into dreamhousenation@gmail.com to be eligible to win tickets to this huge event. So definitely don't miss out. Sonic Temple, May 25th through the 28th, Columbus, Ohio, historic Crew Stadium. Right in. Enjoy. Our guest today is Nati Strauss. She is a guitar virtuoso. We'll be discussing her new Untitled album, Professional Wrestling, the classes that she teaches, and why she is going to be the biggest star in the world. Nita, thank you for joining us.
I love where your head is at, star in the world. That's a good thing to wake up to.
Oh, definitely. How are you recovering from that meniscus surgery?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. It's going well. Of course, never as fast as you want it to. I'd like to be back to 100% right now, but I can walk but not run. I hop but not jump. So I've got, I think a month from today actually is my first Alice Cooper show back. I've got one more month to get back on stage before hitting the road.
Awesome. Your upcoming Untitled album features collaborations with 6 major artists. We know 3 of them. We know David, we know Alice, of course, and we know Elisa. Who are the other 3?
Good try. You got to ask. Every single one that we've had so far has been a surprise drop, so we are going to keep it a surprise for now. But I will say that while I had originally anticipated there being 6, there will have more guests now than
awesome.
6. So you have a lot of good surprise doors.
That is cool, because I understand the album does have 12 tracks. That has been confirmed.
That sounds right. 12 or 13, yeah, sounds right.
Awesome, yeah, because they were originally saying it was going to be like 6 artists, and then there were going to be 6 of just the acoustic, more like your original album.
Instrumental tracks, yes. I think as the album shook out, we wound up with a bit more of a 40 ratio, but I'll have to look and make sure. But yes, it's a lot of exciting guests, and then of course a lot of the instrumental stuff that people know me for as well.
Excellent. And I you were saying you can't confirm any of these, but I just wanted to tell you some of the rumors that are out there. Of course, Demi Lovato is out there. Diamond Rowe from 10 Track is out there as a rumor.
I love Diamond. Diamond and Tetrarch. I did not collaborate with her on this, but I would love to collaborate with her in the future.
Heck yeah. And then, of course, members of the Butcher Babies are a rumor out there as well.
Interesting.
And then Molly Rennick from Living Dead Girl is another rumor.
Interesting. I have to admit that I'm not familiar with her work, but I will check it out.
Oh, it is. It's really good. And then, of course, my favorite of the rumors, Becky Lynch.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? I don't think she sings, but there has definitely been some talk, between me and Becky of working on a theme song for her. So anytime she wants it, and WWE knows how to get a hold of me, I'm always ready.
Awesome. Congratulations on Dead Inside being the #1 song in the U.S. rock radio.
Thanks so much. It was an honor.
Your new single, Winner Takes All, features Alice Cooper and is now available on all major platforms. Both you and Alice have experience with WrestleMania. Alice, of course, from WrestleMania 3, and you from WrestleMania 34. Your song, Winner Takes All, is a great name for a premium live event. What do you think?
Totally agree. I think the song really lends itself, works really well. or even something like the esports or World Series of Poker, anything like that. So we definitely hope that gets picked up at some point by a sporting event.
Nice. With your background in ballet, gymnastics, and of course your course Body Shred, it also doesn't hurt that you're friends with Becky Lynch and Mick Foley. When or should we expect to see you in the ring?
Well, now that I've got the knee surgery out of the way, I'm going to have to rehab that before I think about doing any moonsaults or crazy dives through the ropes. But you never know. Never say never.
So how is your new album? I apologize. What was its name again?
The name has not been announced yet.
I know. I was just trying to fish for it.
It was an excellent try.
Yeah, it's worth a shot. How is it similar to Controlled Chaos?
How is it similar?
Mm-hmm.
I would say the similarity. The instrumental songs, of course, are an evolution of where I was at. Controlled Chaos. I think that this album really, as a whole, just shows a lot of growth for me. When I made Controlled Chaos, it was a temper tantrum of an album. I didn't want anybody to help me. I didn't want to work with any outside producers or writers or engineers or anybody. I just wanted to do everything myself and get my ideas out there. And I had a lot more maturity this time around. I was able to work with a good team of people and present a more evolved, more mature version of myself.
Nice. So it's definitely more collaborative. I mean, we all see that with the featuring artists, but it sounds like even behind the stage or behind this, behind the recording studio, there's a lot more that goes into it, it sounds like.
There definitely is. And, I think any musician can benefit from having an engineer there with them or a producer there in the room saying, you can play that tighter or you can do that better. And I didn't have that in Control Chaos. I was doing everything myself. And I think it kind of shows, to be honest with you. My stubbornness was my weakness in that point. And I think that the upcoming record is a lot tighter and more polished because I had other people in the room, giving me constructive feedback.
People are saying that your tour with Demi Lovato in an all-female band was empowering and inspiring to the next generation. That photo that you and Demi did is very reminding of the Super Bowl photo of Jennifer Batten and Michael Jackson. How does that make you feel?
It's an incredible feeling. Absolutely. Demi, of course, has a strong young fan base, and to get to play these rock versions of her classic songs, and of course, the hard rocking stuff from her new album, to get to bring that to her fans was so inspiring. And of course, Jennifer Batten, hero, getting an amazing female guitar player on stage with the biggest star in the world was so inspiring for me as a young guitar player. So to get to play that role for the next generation was really exciting for me.
Now, I know it wasn't this last season, but the season before, your team made it to the Super Bowl. How did that make you feel?
The Rams? Oh, that's my current team. Yeah, I've been playing with the Rams since 2018, and then I've been a full-time, not member, but, I've been full-time on the entertainment team since 2020.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I figured with all the Alice Cooper and Demi Lovato stuff, you wouldn't have time for them anymore. So you go to the games and play and all that?
Oh, yeah. I fly in every Sunday unless I have a show on Sunday. So I've missed a few games due to touring, but I'm there every time I don't have a show that day. I'll fly in from wherever I'm at and perform at the game.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, then did you get to do anything with the Super Bowl?
Unfortunately not. The Super Bowl isn't technically a game of the home team. So even though the Rams were in the game and it was at our stadium, it wasn't a Rams game per se. It was just the league's game. But I did get a Super Bowl ring, so that is pretty cool.
Oh, that is way cool. That's awesome. Well, congrats on that. And then, shoot. Hopefully at one of the other Super Bowls in the future, they bring you and some of your folks in to perform. That'd be great.
Don't you think Alice Cooper would be a great Super Bowl halftime? I definitely think so.
It would be amazing. I mean, he's an iconic legend. So, having someone like him, it only makes sense. I mean, it covers so many generations of fans. It's a really smart thing. They should definitely consider that. Plus, and I don't mean this to be negative to her, but it comes off that way. Plus, he won't be pregnant.
Well, Rihanna did have the great Nuno Betancourt on stage with her at the Super Bowl, so I thought that was really cool.
Oh, yeah. She still did a great job.
One of our guitar heroes up there. Wish we would have given him a solo, but at least he was there representing. I thought that was cool.
You've been credited with the saying, queens straighten each other's crowns. Who are some of the queens that have helped you straighten your crown?
I think that there is this artificial sense of competition between women and music, you know, where you always see these lists online, you know, who's better or who's hotter or, you know, so-and-so versus so-and-so, who wins. And there is none of that sense of competition with any of the girls that I know. You know, any of the women, any of the female guitar players, any girls in other bands, we all love each other and we all elevate each other as best as we can. I can't think of a time that I've experienced that cattiness that social media creates in person, because the female guitar player scene especially is a really loving, really supportive scene. We all, you know, somebody releases something, we'll all post about it, we'll all support it, we'll all try to help it get traction, from touring, anything like that. So I think that any size that is just artificial stuff made up to get put.
Awesome. Juanita, it has been a pleasure having you as a guest on the show. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web can our listeners know more about you?
I'm Hurricane Nita on all Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, even though I don't really get TikTok yet. My website where you can find all the tour dates and merch and all that good stuff is natistrauss.com. You want to learn how to play guitar from me, from my online course, go to iwanttoPlayGuitar.com, and I'll teach you everything I know.
Sounds great. Thank you for joining us.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival is back at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio, with the Foo Fighters, Tool, Avenged Sevenfold, Kiss, plus Rob Zombie, Deftones, Queens of the Stone Age, Godsmack, and more. Memorial Day weekend. Passes are on sale now at SonicTempleFestival.com for only $10 down.
Our guest today is Jeff Keith. He is the lead singer of the legendary band Tesla. We will be discussing their upcoming residency in Las Vegas. Jeff, thank you for joining us today.
Appreciate your time, James. Thank you.
Despite being known as an 80s and 90s band, I mean, obviously you've continued on and have been creating music for decades. A lot of people believe that you have more of a 70s feel and influence. Why is that?
Well, we kind of cut our teeth on the 60s and especially the 70s, you know, with all of our inspirations. You know, with all five of us coming together, we got a broad like influence from everybody. And so, you know, I would say we're stuck in the 70s, and we kind of are. But even though we've made it through the 80s and 90s on it into the up to 2023 and still doing it.
That's awesome. One of the things that always interests me about bands is when they have names before they find the one that truly fits them. And I understand that at one point you all were City Kid.
That was our club band name. Oh, yeah. But we knew we didn't want to be called City Kid making a record. We tried coming up with a name, and our management, Cheap Prime, and Tom Zutat, and them from Geffen, they gave us time to come up with names. We weren't coming up with anything, and halfway through the first record, they said, we got to start doing our work, and we think we've got a really good name for the band. And they told us everything about the inventor before they told us the name. And when we heard Tesla, we were like, it sounds strange, but it sounds so natural. And our first, second record was records were named after, theories of Nikola Tesla. And he was the underdog, and rock and roll is known as the underdog. Then an alternating current, which fires up the amps and all that stuff, and then the wireless and all that kind of stuff. So the name just fit perfect.
That is awesome.
And it was our first experience. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. Crowds were great. And a lot of people flying from all over. And like I said, the crowds were just great. And we just play. It's just us. There's no opening band.
Nice.
And so we just had a blast with it, and looking forward to doing it again. I think the end of September, the 1st of October, and looking forward to it. It was a great experience.
So why is Tesla still roaring and soaring after all these years?
Well, the fans are still there. That helped, and we're all still alive and kicking, and this 80s hair band, still going at it.
Nice.
In 2023, and the fans are still there. James, that's the main thing, is the fans are still there, and they're still coming out. We couldn't do it without them.
That's the thing. It's not just the original fans. It's their kids and their kids. I mean, your band has become so multi-generational, getting so many fans around the world. How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's great. It's great to see young fans out there, you know, and they're singing every word and they're just loving every song. And it's really pretty amazing. And, we get a big kick out of that, you know, because some kids throughout the years, I always used to joke with them, and they go, I love Tessa. And I go, oh, was it because you were in a car seat and you got it shoved down your throat? And they're like, no. Some of them would go, oh, yeah, maybe they have a little of that going on, but they genuinely love the band and the music. So it's fantastic to see younger generation out there just rocking and having fun with us.
Tell us about your unique discography and how you've been able to create such great electronic songs, such like Modern Day Cowboy, acoustic-driven songs like Love Song, and a variety of top hits like Lil Susie.
Yeah, well, we've always recorded our basic tracks live all together in one room and then start doing overdubs on every record we've ever made. And there's an acoustic guitar somewhere, whether it's, you can hear it up front or in the background. We've always had an acoustic guitar in there. And and the 5-man acoustical jam, we were out on tour with Motley Crue. We just found some clubs that allowed us to play our songs, and we picked some cover songs. We each picked a cover song, and it was going so well that, it was decided, hey, let's bring a 24-track mobile truck out there, bring some cameras out there. We recorded it, forgot all about it. Me and Frank and Tommy go to a radio station, play signs, phones, actual phones that were on a hook were ringing off the hook. And next, Geffen Records says we got a whole night of this. And next, we put it out, and people just loved the honesty of it. And it was live from top to bottom. And it's our biggest selling record to date. It's 5-man acoustical jam. So, we're just known for that raw, live, blue-collar rock. And it's worked well for us, and it's still working well for us.
So where did you reside in Vegas?
In Vegas, we did the residency at the House of Blues, which is connected to Mandalay Bay. And, but the House of Blues, we love playing the House of Blues. It's got that, energy to it, and people are right there up front, and it's kind of tight and intimate,
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that venue's got a great feel to it. But I can imagine when you're not performing, I mean, you probably have such great accommodations there as well.
Yeah, but for me being a singer, I got to try to take it as easy as I can and all this rest of the voice. I'm the one with the built-in instrument, so I got to be careful that I'm not running around and coming in like a drowned rat or something all drenched, and I got to make sure that I take advantage of those days off. So, we had nice accommodations, and like I said, it was a blast, and the shows were a big success, and it was our first residency, because, when we first talked about doing it, I know for myself, I'm like, wow, I'm just used to being from town to town, but, so just to be in one place, but like I said, it was a different audience every night. There was some people that come to all the shows, some of the super fans and stuff like that, but for the biggest part, it was all, different audience every night, and, it was fantastic.
It was kind of like you all were following in the footsteps, the legacy of entertainers like Elvis.
Yeah, well, yes, I appreciate that, James, but not like we're we're being compared to Elvis, but yeah. There's a lot of bigger bands that have been known to do these residencies. And, of course, Elvis and all these. I mean, Vegas is known for residencies for decades. So we were very, honored to be asked to do a residency, and that the House of Blues allowed us to do that. And because not just everybody, not just any band gets this opportunity. So we're very fortunate to get that opportunity. And we rose to the occasion, and so did the fans. And like I said, everything just went off like gangbusters. So we're really excited to be doing another one this fall.
Speaking about opportunity, I mean, that must have been a fun opportunity to dig into your catalog and to change up your set list nicely or nightly.
Yes, that was. And I'll tell you what, always been throughout the years, especially as you make more records, which we've been fortunate enough to make quite a few, a set list can be a difficult thing to put together because you only have an hour and a half when you're headlining. And So you want to squeeze everything you can there. You go, oh, we want to play this song, we want to play that song off this record. But it can be really difficult to put together a set list for an hour and a half, when you have as many records, like I said, as we've been fortunate to have made. So set list can be difficult, but we had fun with it. Pulled some songs out worked some songs up that we haven't played, since the second record. And so it makes it fun for us, as well as it's fun for the audience, because they go, all right, this is, I haven't, heard them play this song in so long. So it was also not just fun for the audience, but it was fun for us too.
Definitely. But you're not making it any easier on yourself, because you keep coming up with new, great music. I mean, people are saying your new single, Time to Rock, feels like the next big stadium anthem. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes us feel great. Yeah. And we enjoy, that's the thing. We enjoy writing songs. So, we're always going to be putting out a single, or, our plans are to make another record, and we like making records. We like creating music. So it's great to write a new song and have the fans and the people just go, hey man, this sounds great. It sounds modern, yet it's our old school boys Tesla, So we're still very fortunate to be able to have the opportunity to write songs, because we enjoy doing it and have the people loving it.
Now, it's probably just a coincidence, but it really felt like, because you came up with Roll of the Dice, which, oh my gosh, seems like the perfect anthem for Las Vegas, is what kind of inspired that to happen. It's probably just pure coincidence, right?
The Roll of the Dice? I'm sorry now.
Your current album, Rolling of the Dice.
Oh, third album, Rolling the Dice. Well, hey, I'm just the guy they hand the microphone to.
No worries, it's all good.
Okay, yeah, like Rolling the Dice. Sure. Oh, it's a quote of the lyric. Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everything's like rolling the dice in life. Especially being in a rock band, we made our first record. Next, they're like, well, you got to watch out for the sophomore jinx. You hear things like this, and we just kind of ignore that, and it is like rolling the dice. You just play from the heart and hope for the best, but really just playing from the heart is where it starts. And then if people like it, then it's all great, because we have to first, as a band, be satisfied and fulfilled with the songs we're writing. So yeah, we definitely are a kind of rolling the dice kind of band, and we don't try to fit in with the latest flavor of the week, and just stick to who we are and being ourselves and being that blue collar rock band.
Awesome. So you had that residency in Vegas, and you're going to have another one later on in the year. But one of the things I think is phenomenal is the 2023 Monsters of Rock cruise. I think that sounds like it's going to be amazing. How does it feel to be a part of that?
Oh, hey, those are always fun. We've done them, so many of them, and I don't think we did it last year, but we're doing it again this year, and it's fun. It's just a big ship full of people that just love rock and roll, and we really enjoy it, and we're really looking forward to doing that this year, because we didn't do it last year, but looking forward to it. And it's just a boat full of people that just love rock and roll.
Does it really get any better than that?
It does not change. It doesn't.
Awesome.
It's great, man. The vibe is just awesome, and there's always a show happening at all times. So, there's no downtime. I mean, we play, each band at least plays a couple sets during the week on the ship, but there's always rock and roll. There's always a band playing somewhere, sometimes multiple at the same time.
Nice.
So there's never a dull moment on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Sounds awesome. Well, Jeff, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today, talking up Tesla, talking about your residency, talking about the Monsters of Rock cruise, all kinds of great stuff. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about you? TeslaTheBand.com. But I know TeslaTheBand.com is our website, and I think it usually has all the information that anybody could find out. That's the most important one.
.com.
Excellent. Our listeners will definitely check that out, and hopefully our listeners will be able to make it out to Las Vegas and to be able to see you perform during that residency.
Yeah, it'll be a great time, man. Come and join us.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thanks, James.
The Dreamhouse Nation loves it when we give out our email address, and that is dreamhousenation@gmail.com. That's dreamhousenation@gmail.com. Right in to win tickets. We are giving away some of the best tickets of the summer. We're giving away tickets to the Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 25th through May 28th. Tool, Godsmack, Avenged Sevenfolds, Queens of the Stone Age, Kiss, Rob Zombie, Foo Fighters, the Deftones. It is going to be an amazing event. Right into dreamhousenation@gmail.com to be eligible to win tickets to this huge event. So definitely don't miss out. Sonic Temple, May 25th through the 28th, Columbus, Ohio, historic Crew Stadium. Right in. Enjoy. Our guest today is Johnny DiCarlo. He is the lead vocalist and guitarist for Neverwake. We'll be discussing the origins of Neverwake, group's writing process, and their new single, Rebel Yell. Johnny, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, how did Neverwake get started?
It starts like any other band. You get a group of friends and you guys are bored and you start playing music. It's a little bit more detailed than that, but I grew up in a music oriented family, and I was fortunate enough to make friends with other musicians around me, and honestly, it was just one thing led to another. It's crazy to understand how success happens. You start a band and you don't expect it to go much, or go anywhere, but pretty soon, you're like, oh, people actually really like our music. We have to keep doing this now. So it was cool.
Well, that is awesome. Now, I understand that you all ended up getting, Saturday detention or suspension, and then because you taped somebody together, and was that part of the story?
Because we taped somebody together?
Yeah, because, you're the jock. You got in trouble for taping someone together. The one fella's a loudmouth and he smokes. And then
I'll tell you what, it honestly is, it was like the Breakfast Club, because it truly was I was the jock. I was the guy who, I was the quarterback of my high school. The drummer that we got, he was in the band. And then we have the bassist, which was the gothic kid in the corner. It's we all came from different areas, and it was nowhere did we ever think that this was going to happen, but it did. And it's just really cool to see how that evolved, and how we saw past all of the the clicks and whatever, and we really got together and was it's just really cool to find those people that you have those interests with that you don't really notice because of those social constructs or whatever. And I'm glad that we did. I'm glad that we reached out to each other and we were like, hey, let's do something. Let's create music.
And then later on, I understand you brought in Justin, who's a bit of a gearhead.
Yeah. Justin is definitely a bit of a gearhead. He's the guy who we asked, because I'm not a big tube amp guy, or even guitar. If I like my guitar, I like my guitar. I'm not looking to get another piece or upgrade it here and there. He's more of that type of guy, and he's been real helpful for us. I like to get up on stage and perform. I don't like tap dance around on my pedals and do whatever I got to do. But yeah, he's been super helpful, not only on stage, but with when we're touring and stuff with buses and gears in that way as well.
And I understand that you got about 8 guitars and he has about 80.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He definitely has a lot of guitars. He's probably not 80, but he's got quite a few more than me. And it's we'll be up on stage and I'm playing the same guitar, and I turn to my right and Justin has a new guitar for every song. Hey man, can I have one of those? I need to change up my look for at least one song.
Nice. I understand he did help you to change your guitar some. Did you switch to the gypsy guitar, or did he?
To the gypsy guitar?
Yeah, the 7 strings versus the 6 strings.
Oh, so he is the one that actually helped me switched to the 7-string. So I had always been writing in 6-string, and in C, and that was something that I was just like comfortable with, and I never really thought about it. And just like I said, I was in my comfort zone. I don't like to really like jump outside of my comfort zone, or at least at the time I did. And then he had a 7-string guitar, and he goes, "Hey man, he's like, I'm gonna leave this here. Just check it out. Just mess around with it." So I remember I was like just sitting there, and it was actually 4th of July, and I can't remember when it was, what year it was, but it was like I just remember it was 4th of July. I had just come back from like some like fireworks, whatever, and I picked up the guitar and I started playing a riff on it, like something that I would play on the 6-string, but I started playing it on the 7-string on the low A, and I was like, ooh, that sounds real cool. And it was from that point on, it was just like, yeah, screw it, one more string, who cares? And I started writing in 7, and I mean, it's not like we don't write in C anymore, but it's just been a definite help in expanding our sound.
Is it fair to say that it's kind of given your music a darker tone?
Absolutely. Because when you drop down from C down to A, you can start doing these little things that like are a little bit more dissonant and a little bit more like sinister, and but not only that, it just gives you more range. It gives you more capability. Actually, Rebel Yell is in A, or not A. What was it? But if we had not dropped it down, we wouldn't be able to do that song. And it was just like, wow, we're literally an octave lower, but it still works. It's really cool.
The neat thing about the great thing about your music is that you focus on real world issues such as anxiety and depression. How has creating music been cathartic to you?
It's always been that way for me. I've always struggled with anxiety and depression, and it wasn't really like diagnosed or anything until like later, in life. And I had always used it in that way to help me, but it wasn't until I realized like, okay, like, yeah, it definitely is a help to me. It's an outlet. But not only has it helped me, it's helped a lot of other people. And, I've had people reach out to us at the band and said, thank you for making this song. You saved my life tonight. And every time that we hear something like that, it's like, we may not be doctors, we may not be, firefighters, jumping through windows and pulling people out of the fire, but to know that we're helping people in that way holds a lot more value to our music, and it pushes us more to continue what we're doing. So, I always like to have that strong message, even though we may get a little bit darker, or we may get a little sinister at sometimes, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and we make sure that our fans know that.
When writing your original songs, do you use a group writing process with each other? And in so doing that group process, does it really help the songs to move along?
So it depends. Sometimes somebody will have an idea, and if they're in the zone, leave them alone. Let them do their thing. Let them go. And that's kind of like how I am. If I have an idea, if I'm in the zone, or if I if I know the direction, I'll just go gung-ho, because you don't ever want to impede somebody's process. If there's ever going to be a change, you can make it later. However, if you get to a point and you're like, man, I just got to the bridge and you hit a wall, it's always a great thing to hand it off to somebody else. And that's what we try to do. We try to say like, all right, man, I don't know what to do here. Then somebody else steps in and goes, what about this? And they do this, and it's like you feed off each other, because if somebody else brings an idea that you never thought of in the first place, that sparks another idea, and it's like back and forth and back and forth. And it's a truly beautiful process to do it both ways. You may have an idea and you may get the whole song done on your own, but then until somebody else goes like, well, what about this? You go, well, actually that is a cool idea too. And you take out the part, and it's like modular. Just take this out here, put it in here. So, we like writing both ways. It's, regardless of whoever writes the songs, we always like put our little flavors and stuff and spice it up here and there, and make sure that it's definitely something that comes from the group as a whole.
It's awesome that you all, still collaborate and still work on things as a group, because I know some bands that are just like, hey, this is so-and-so's song, or that's their song. But it seems like you all really care about each other and really care about the process of getting it right for the fans.
Oh, it is. It's very important. And what's nice about it too is because it's not only like, it's not like, oh, we like to have everybody contribute and participation award type of thing. Everyone's got a different influence. George, the bass player, huge Slipknot fan. I've always been a Trivium fan. I grew up listening into Godsmack and Disturbed, and I got into Avenged Sevenfold stuff. So that's kind of my thing. Justin, big Zakk Wylde fan, and it's just something where all these people have different. Each member has an influence in something that they like, that they listen to, that is naturally going to include itself into their music. So it's a nice like lottery. You never know what you're going to end up with. You might have like a little riff right here that kind of sounds like a little Slipknot, Jim Root, but then you might have a little lead over top of it that has a little Zakk Wylde to it. So we try to include everybody, and because it naturally builds the song that way.
You mentioned about being influenced by your father and his band. Did they do a lot of cover anthems like Rebel Yell?
100%. They always, a lot of Rebel Yell. They've done everything from Bruce Springsteen to Tom Petty to Billy Idol and the Doors and Pink Floyd, and I could go on and on and on. They've done a lot of songs, but Billy Idol, Rebel Yell was one of them that I had always remembered in my mind. It was just like it's got that nostalgic feel, and like I had mentioned, I just remember being a kid. My mom had dressed me and my sister up to go out and see my dad play. We didn't always go see him play, but when there were kid-friendly venues, we went out and saw him. And I just remember seeing him up on stage. Just my jaw was on the floor. I was like, "This is amazing! I can't believe he's up there doing it." I'm a shy kid, and I'm like, "How could I ever do that?" But I just remember him playing this song and just seeing the people around dancing, having a great time. It was alive. It was just an amazing experience, and this song really brought it back to me. And it was like kind of like hey, Dad, I can do it too, kind of thing.
That is awesome. How did meeting John Moyer of Disturbed at the convention impact your music career?
Greatly. To be honest, like if there's anything small that we've taken out of it, it's send him an email. It can't hurt. And if there's anything, and there's larger things that we've taken out of it. But all these people like to think like, hey, yeah, you had an inside whatever, with John, and that's how you got this connection and that connection. We quite literally sent him an email and said, hey, we're going to this convention. We'd love to sit down and talk with you. And he said, okay. And it was like, oh, all right. One thing led to another. We ended up working with him, and he's flying in and staying at my house that I grew up listening to his band in, and and working with him was just such an eye-opening experience on so many levels that helped model me and fashion me differently, into who I am today. I could sit here and rattle off every single piece that I've learned, but we'd be here for a couple hours.
So, what are some of the projects that you've worked on with him?
So we had worked on our album in 2016 that was Incinerate. We had done that with him. And that was a 5? Was it 5? It was originally supposed to be 5 song EP, maybe 6. I can't remember. It was one of the ones where we had actually had Thriller on as well. And that was a cover, Michael Jackson. And we had done that one with him. And then we said, you know what? We love that whole process. Let's bring it back out. And we did Misguided with him. That was another EP. And, it's always fun to work with John. It was always fun to just, see his take on things. It was never always like sunshine and rainbows. There was times where me and him butted heads for sure, but that's kind of what you want. You want somebody who's going to challenge you and get you outside of your comfort zone. What I talked about earlier is when I used to like to be inside my comfort zone, I have now expanded myself outside of that, because that's what you want. You want somebody who's going to challenge you and take you out of there, because you navigate differently when you're outside of that comfort zone, and it helps build you. But we're super thankful for John. We love him, and we hope to work on something with him soon.
Any word on when your tour dates are going to be announced?
We are actually we're in discussion right now with an agent. We don't have anything solid as of yet, but we will be announcing very soon about where we're going to be ending up here. Most likely sometime in August. That's
awesome. Yeah, our listeners are hoping that you're coming to Ohio.
Oh, will do.
So how has it been working with Nick at Melodic Revolution Records?
That's been great. Nick's a great guy. He's he's awesome. He's got his flavors and stuff. He like his vinyl and stuff, and he's always been a huge supporter of the band. We're very, happy that he brought us in on his label. And I remember he flew out and saw us when we opened up for All the Remains. I can't remember when that was, but it was always like great just seeing him there, and he was like ecstatic, like a proud father, and it was a cool experience. But Nick's great. We love him, and we couldn't ask for more.
Awesome. Well, Johnny, it has been a pleasure having you on the show, talking up Neverwake. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about you?
Pretty much at any social media, just go ahead and put the @ and then Neverwake Music, @Neverwake Music. That's where we're at. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if it is around in a month, everywhere. Just go ahead and plug that in, and send us a message. We like talking back. We love talking with the fans, and yeah.
Sounds great. We're glad we had you on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me.
The Dreamhouse Nation loves it when we give out our email address, and that is dreamhousenation@gmail.com. That's dreamhousenation@gmail.com. Write in to win tickets. We are giving away some of the best tickets of the summer. We're giving away tickets to the Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 25th through May 28th. Tool, Godsmack, Avenged Sevenfolds, Queens of the Stone Age, Kiss, Rob Zombie, Foo Fighters, the Deftones. It is going to be an amazing event. Write into dreamhousenation@gmail.com to be eligible to win tickets to this huge event. So definitely don't miss out. Sonic Temple, May 25th through the 28th, Columbus, Ohio, historic Crew Stadium. Write in. Enjoy.
Let's do it.
Our guest today is Stephen Wolwyn from Arcane Ghost. We'll be discussing their new EP, Distant Youth. Stephen, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. Let's talk about this thing.
So when did you first fall in love with music?
Oh, wow. I've been in love with music for as long as I can remember. This just goes back to like my, earliest confirmed memories. I have some strong ones, like just listening to music with my parents whenever we were in the car. Of course, I was, I don't want to say forced into listening to my parents' music, but it's just kind of happened. They were young in the 80s, so I was first exposed to a lot of like 80s pop and rock. And then, they played just, radio stations with what was current at the time. So I remember like hearing like some like Red Hot Chili Peppers music. I remember I really liked Shania Twain, like her big song then, the Man I Feel Like a Woman. Certainly catchy. Yeah, I just kind of had a pop sensibility from day one, I guess, and eventually just got into the punk rock with Green Day, and then it was all just downward snowball from there, getting into like playing music, and just long story short, getting to where I am today.
Nice. So how did you learn to play?
How did I learn to play? I guess my parents were very supportive in just kind of letting me pursue whatever I was interested in, and whether it's like sports and all that other stuff. So when I told them I wanted to learn guitar, they put me in guitar lessons, and that kind of worked, kind of didn't. So like, I don't know, when you're starting out, you kind of have to learn the little basic songs before you can really get into what you really want to play, and then that was a little tough, and I don't know, kind of lost interest a little bit, kind of was away from guitar and eventually bass for a little bit. I don't know, I just kind of found my way back and just kind of learned on my own for a bit, and when I wanted to be serious about music, I got back into lessons, and yeah, that was kind of how I learned, just a bit of like a natural return to the instrument, and just kind of getting that foundation going with lessons at first.
So how did Arcane Ghost get started?
So I'm not a founding member. I have had two separate tenures with the band. One where I joined in like 2016, left around 2017 to pursue a different band, and then when I left that band, I kind of came back in 2020 and have been in the group since. But I just remember, I guess, Jason and a different guitarist at the time named David kind of were longtime friends who started. They were in a prior band together, and they ended up starting a new one with a different drummer by the name of Eric, and they kind of just were jamming and kind of like wrote some music, and then when they needed like a bass player, after, I guess, their first bass player left, I ended up joining. And yeah, just, I guess the band started through the power of friendship.
The thing I'm really impressed with Arcane Ghost is that you're able to explore so many new sounds. I think that is quite remarkable with your band.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Do you have a follow-up question to that? Or,
yeah. Why do you all love and doing that so much? Why are you so creative?
Why are we so creative? I guess it's just you listen to a lot of music and you just try to take as much influence as you can from all kinds of stuff. Like, obviously, you know, pop punk has been kind of like the first and foremost influence in a general sense for the three of us currently in the band. But obviously, like, if you just take influence from bands within that genre, you might get something a little more familiar and one-dimensional, if you will. But if you look at, I don't know, different rock or pop or heck, even like rap, or I don't know, I take influence from just kind of like structures of songs, and like if you look at certain song forms, and yeah, it's just kind of thinking outside the box and just looking for every little detail that you can to maybe bring to your own band, and just a lot of experimenting, just see what works, see what doesn't.
Now, of course, the fans, they're excited about your new EP, Distant Youth, dropping on March 31st. Tell us about the process of creating it and how the COVID lockdown impacted its creation.
Well, the COVID lockdown frankly had a huge impact on how that was made. So prior to that, the band would do a lot of like writing via like jamming, like actually like with everyone in the same room, like playing their instruments, just kind of like, you know, the way it was always intended. But with lockdowns and social distancing, like we weren't able to like all meet up in person for a little bit. So we tried kind of writing over Discord and kind of like exchanging ideas through there, but it just kind of didn't work out. So we did have to eventually meet up in like a room, but, you know, we wore a mask, we were careful, and, you know, stayed, you know, as far apart as we could from each other. But like with that, we were able to all just kind of focus in on specific parts. Like me personally, you know, I was able to kind of provide my opinion, like, hey, Jason, that sucks. Let's write something better. Or, hey, Jason, that sounds amazing. Let's make that into a song. But what else did we do? We didn't have a drum kit for one. So I find, like, me personally, like when everyone is jamming and trying to like write that way, like your focus is a little divided on one, what you're playing, and then if you're trying to like listen to other people, then it's just, you can't really focus on what other people are doing as well as you should be, like when you're writing. So with that change, we were able to frankly like focus on every single thing and just help that best music that we possibly can.
So it sounds like the extra time allowed you to experiment with your writing process. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, very correct.
So how has your music grown and evolved from your first EP, Human Interference? I mean, I know you mentioned you hadn't been with the group the whole time, but obviously you have, played all the different songs.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think just the biggest difference was like the Human Interference. My understanding is that Jason and the two other members who were in the group at the time, like they, frankly, like we've been writing new stuff, and Jason was actually kind of feeling nostalgic, and like they have like a whole bunch of like kind of like jams and songs written like and uploaded via video to like a Facebook group. So like he was going through like a bunch of stuff, and they really wrote a lot. So that, I think, maybe like big thing where like those Jason and those members, they got used to just jamming so much and uploading so much that they just kind of pick the best stuff from that, and they bring it into the studio, and they just kind of like took those like ideas and just fully fleshed them into music. Like, you know, proper cohesive music. And yeah, and I just think the adapting for this coming EP really kind of like took what they had built and just kind of like brought it even further to make amazing hooks and riffs.
People are saying Distant Youth is your best music to date. How does that make you feel?
I mean, it's very flattering, and we're happy that people think that, but at the same time, like we want to continue to again build off of what we have just done and just write stuff that's even better. And you know, we can be satisfied and like continue to write stuff that maybe is on equal footing as with this music, but you know, we're still a local band, like, you know, we're still not on an established label of any sorts, and whether or not we're kind of getting looked at by, you know, people in that industry, like, is, you know, could go either way. But for me, I just want to to get to a point where we can write like amazing songs, and it's not a matter of like, oh yeah, these guys are all right, or we could sign them, maybe they'll kind of get a bit of a following. Like we just don't want that debate, right? Like we want it to be like an easy decision where some A&R person listens to our songs and think, we got to sign these guys, like these guys are going to blow up, and I think like we can do that through I think writing deeper lyrics that more people can connect to, and just continuing to be even more selective with what like what riffs we use to make music.
Yeah, in your music you seem to take people on a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, Jason, what parts we go up, go down? I think it's all the songs on Distant Youth, like just sonically, like they're all like faster tempo tunes, but they're like different kinds of fast. Like the moods are slightly different. Like the song Roller Coaster, for example, like lyrically it's about kind of like breakups and like feeling nostalgia. Butterfly is just kind of seeing things from different perspectives, and the one song Paralyzed that hasn't been released just yet, like that one is about kind of losing someone close to you and just kind of trying to get through your 9-to-5 work day. So it's just, like there's stuff that's more upbeat, there's stuff that's maybe a little less upbeat, but maybe just kind of is like a happy medium between sort of like happy and sad emotions. And we just wanted to make something for everyone.
I mean, you got some really great videos. Roller Coaster, like you were saying, showing that relationship issue. I just couldn't figure out why he kicked her out.
Oh, why he kicked her out?
Yeah, why he kicked her out in Roller Coaster. Was it something she said or something she did? I that was the only part I didn't get.
Oh, you're talking about the video, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
the video. Yeah, like at one point he throws the coat at her. Why does he throw the coat at her?
Oh, let me think back to that. I was there for that video shoot, and I did kind of see that being filmed. I guess like the video in the general sense is just to kind of show like kind of the us and like kind of like the different stages of the relationship where like you kind of like you're in the honeymoon phase a little bit and things kind of go south, whether it's like a sort of like a jealousy thing, because like I don't know, what I remember from that video is like there was like the scene where like the actress kind of like took a glance like my way or whatever, and there was that temptation or something, and then I mean, but in the realistic sense, like that whole scene and throwing the coat was just kind of like a semantics like ad lib sort of thing, because it was like showing like an argument, and then Jason and Diana just kind of they did a really good job kind of selling like an argument kind of scene, and just kind of the coat thing I remember was in the moment, and like and when the camera cut, like they were kind of laughing and being like, oh my god, wow, like you really you really took that
it was great.
To a different
it added
level
to the
there.
Intensity. Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. And then of course your other videos,
thanks.
Fever Dream, was there any reason behind the 3 different sets for you guys?
I think the reason for that one, I think it was supposed to kind of like represent like kind of like the 3 different band members. Like we each kind of like played like a character in that one. I was wearing that robot suit and did my best robot impersonation, and Spasmir was kind of dressed up in the beach attire and just kind of being that laid back sort of guy. And then Jason was just Jason, doing his thing and messaging a girl, waiting to hear back from her, and all that stuff. That was a really fun video, actually. Super expensive, but fun.
Yeah, it looked really cool. Well, Steven, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today, learning about Arcane Ghost. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about you?
Well, you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. We're trying to get TikTok going. Facebook, we're on there as well. Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming services, play our music wherever you wish. And if all else fails, a quick Google search, you'll be able to, find some things related to Arcane Ghost. But pleasure's been all mine, James. Thank you so much for having me. And let's do this again sometime.
The Dreamhouse Nation loves it when we give out our email address, and that is dreamhousenation@gmail.com. That's dreamhousenation@gmail.com. Right in to win tickets. We are giving away some of the best tickets of the summer. We're giving away tickets to the Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 25th through May 28th. Tool, Godsmack, Avenged Sevenfold, Queens of the Stone Age, Kiss, Rob Zombie, Foo Fighters, the Deftones. It is going to be an amazing event. Write into dreamhousenation@gmail.com to be eligible to win tickets to this huge event. So definitely don't miss out. Sonic Temple, May 25th through the 28th, Columbus, Ohio, historic Crew Stadium. Write in. Enjoy. Our guest today is Tiller Russell. He is the creative force behind the new 3-part Netflix documentary, Waco, American Apocalypse. Tiller, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So why did Waco happen?
Well, I think, in short, you have this apocalyptic cult group that happens, that appears right outside of Waco, Texas. And then people get wind of the fact that there are all sorts of firearms going in and out that are being turned into fully automatic ones. And so begins this massive investigation, which starts with the ATF raid, which produces the biggest gunfight in American history since the Civil War, and then begins the 51-day siege that ends in the terrible fire that we all watched happen on national television.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was a heck of a tragedy. Was David Koresh really the monster that we believe him to be?
Well, I think he was a very complex character. I mean, without a doubt, he was having sex with underage children, was a sexual predator, a pedophile. At the same time, he was also a very charismatic, apocalyptic preacher, and his message gathered people from all over the world, to give up all their worldly belongings and to show up at Waco and follow his vision into the apocalypse.
Wow. What could they have done differently? And by that, I mean either side.
Well, I think it's all sides in this case. At the end of it, there was this profound failure to communicate where nobody could quite understand what anybody else was saying. And I think there was internal conflict within the FBI. The hostage rescue team was on a different page from the negotiators. One group of folks wanted to kick down the door and shoot the quote unquote bad guys and bring out the quote unquote hostages, and the other side wanted to get on the phone and talk as long as it took. And I think there was also a profound failure to communicate by the Branch Davidians, to both the authorities, to the press. At the end of it, nobody could really kind of communicate their message in a really clear and concise way, and it led to the epic tragedy that we all witnessed.
Why was it not just a big story in the United States? Why was the whole world seemingly captivated by this tragedy?
Well, I think for one thing, nothing like this had ever happened before. So we were in virgin territory, so to speak, where nobody had seen a standoff of this scope and this protracted nature. And for another reason, it was happening live on television. 24 hours a day, there was coverage from the compound and outside the compound, and the FBI going to talk to the press. And then there were people from all over the world. What's something that many people don't know is that the Branch Davidians weren't just, local Texas folk. They had come from all over the world, as far away as Australia and Japan and the UK. And so there was this fascinating and diverse cross-section of people that had been drawn to David Koresh's message.
What makes this the definitive account of the events surrounding the Waco tragedy?
Well, I think for one thing, we have access to this incredible amount of material that some of which has never been seen by the world before. There was video that was shot inside the FBI's hostage negotiation room. And the intention when that footage was shot was the FBI flew into town. They thought they'd resolve this in 24 hours, and that footage would become a teaching tool that they would use back at the academy in Quantico. Well, that ended up not happening the way they anticipated, and this protracted 51-day siege, then took place, and that footage was stashed away for 30 years, and nobody had ever seen it. And there was also hundreds of hours of footage shot by the local news crew the local news station that had miraculously been archived for all these years. And then there were thousands of photographs that were shot by the hostage rescue team snipers. And so together, this combination of footage and the combination of perspectives, you have people from all walks of life. You've got David Koresh's spiritual wife. You've got the drummer that played in his band. You've got the last kid that made it out alive, as well as all sorts of members of the FBI, members of the ATF, David Koresh's attorney. So it's really a 360 kaleidoscopic look at what happened 30 years ago and why it did.
Exactly. A lot of times with documentaries, they only have one side, but it sounds like you said you have the 360 view and are able to really get inside the meat and the details of the incident.
Yeah, I think it's important to have, all of the different perspectives, because it's very easy to come to a quick snap judgment. I think all of us did, many of us did when this first happened. And now, 30 years later, it's an opportunity to really reflect on it and look at the complicated, nuanced nature of what really went down and why. And so that's what my hope for this documentary series is.
So how were you able to get that unparalleled access?
Well, part of it was, the discovery of that footage that was shot inside the FBI's hostage negotiation room, which I found to be really fascinating, because all of us have this idea of, what it's like when there's a hostage situation going. We think of the Samuel L. Jackson movie where it's one guy on the phone, and in fact, it's this, team of very smart people that are, using these very careful strategies. So, access to that, and then also just patience and persistence. At the end of the day, it was, approaching all of these people from these different walks of life and these different roles and asking them to finally come forward and tell what it was like in human terms to live through this iconic, tragic moment of American history.
I don't believe this is your first time working with Netflix. How great is it to work with them once again?
It's really fantastic. I had the opportunity to work with them when I made Night Stalker, and this is a chance to reteam with those same folks, and then I'm going to get to reteam with them again. We've got a series coming out about the Boston Marathon bombing 3 or 4 weeks after Waco dropped. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to collaborate with people that I know and trust well.
Excellent. Well, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about Waco American Apocalypse?
Go to Netflix and look at the series, and then there's a companion podcast which is coming out as well, which is available everywhere where you can find a podcast.
Excellent. Tiller, thank you for joining us today.
Appreciate you having me.